There it is. The big fucking lump of iron. 454 Chevy Bigblock. It's a big fucking lump. Weighs a damn ton. But that motherfucker is extracted from the RV. Safely tucked away here in the garage. It was a fucking task and a half getting that thing out of that RV. Major effort. But it's worth it. It's a fucking gold nugget there. Now you got the big motherfucker extracted from the RV. Now what do you do with it? See, I got 60-something engines, and I don't have 60-something cars, so a lot of times I build shit and it goes on a dolly and gets covered up and pushed off in the corner for couple of years. This fucking thing here is a 30,000 mile or 31,000 miles on this unit. And this fucking thing ran good. There's a strong running engine. Good compression in every hole. Not a damn thing wrong with that engine. Person could just plop it in a vehicle as is, and it would run for a long fucking time and be dependable as hell. And it'd be pretty fast. If a guy took this engine and dropped it in a 79 Malibu G-body, gutted, about 3,000 pounds, 3,100 or so. Just one of these fucking engines like this stock would put it deep in the 13s in the quarter. Probably fucking low 8s in the 8th. Just a stock engine. And I could do that, but in the interest of science, I think I'm gonna dig into this motherfucker. Much as I hate to bust the seal on a good running unit, I looked inside the valve cover. That fucking engine looks brand new inside. Extremely good condition. It's a non-emission, no EGR engine. It's in real good shape. I mean, it ain't pretty. Of course, it's fucking 40 plus years old and been sitting for most of them 40 plus years. Come out of that RV was either an 80 or an 81 model. This engine is black, and most of you normal production Bigblock Chevys from 77 to 83 were corporate blue. This fucker was black for some reason. So I'm thinking they built these RV engines on a separate line, a heavy duty line or something. I know the old crate engines back in the day, the old LS6s and shit. They were painted black back in the 70s. So these things might have come off a different line or something, specifically for shit like what it came in. Recreational vehicles and big trucks and school buses and shit. It's a big monster of an engine. Like I said in a previous video, one of these on a dyno like it sits with a good tune and good condition easily make 350 horse and 480 pounds of torque with stock parts. Now I've seen them in shitty condition pulled out of RVs and they made 330 horse and 470 plus torque. So what the condition of the engine is has a lot to do with how much power it'll make. But they're in that range anyway. That's just where you start. My plan for this, I'm on to do something cheap with this motherfucker. I've already got several big blocks going together that are expensive. Fucking take forever to collect the shit for them, and long dragged out projects. One of them's a 496 Bigblock Chevy I'm working on. I'm shooting for 800 plus horsepower NA with it. Then I have another, a 427 Bigblock Chevy I'm putting together, and it's going to be a twin turbo unit. And how much power it'll make will be how brave I am to turn it up. But with the two turbos I'm going to use maxed out, it could make 1400 horse. But that fucker's expensive and taking a long time. So I'd like to do something cheap. Got enough shit laying around. Get the fuck away from me, cat. There's enough shit laying around, I could put this thing together and make pretty good power. I'd like to see what I could do. That bottom end is tip-top shape. Just fucking throw a cam in it, some heads, intake, and keep the bottom end pretty much stock. Throw a high volume oil pump and shit in it and a different oil pan. It's got a giant fucking oil pan on it, but that won't fit in too many cars. So I have to put a automotive type oil pan on it to make it fit in a car. I ain't wanting to spend a shitload of money on this fucking thing. I'd like to see if I could get something in the tens and the quarter and not spend more than $1,500 to $2,000 on this motherfucker. I think I can do it, which I'd need about 550 horse to get a G body in the mid-tens. Do it with a stock bottom end 454 here. Just keep it under 6 grand. I'm looking at a Lanati cam. It's a hydraulic roller. It's 240, 252 at 50. 595 lift, and a 108 load separation. I think that would give it some kick. And then I got some heads. I got numerous Bigblock Chevy heads in stock, but I have this particular pair of heads here. These are 820s. They come off a 71 LS5 454. Which they're actually late 70 castings, but they were on a 71 LS5 454 in a El Camino Super Sport. Them heads come with 113cc semi-open chamber. So the heads on that engine are 122cc approximate, 8.5 to 1. And these are 113, and they're milled to 108. They're milled about 30 thousandths. So they're about 108cc chambers. And then they got a 219 intake valve added. They're bowl ported, gasket matched. They flow over 300 CFM at about 600 lift. About 315 at 600 lift. They ain't the best fucking heads in the world, but the early big oval ports, that's one of your better sets. And I could use them, or I could use these 215s here. These are 98cc chamber off a 67 427. They got port work done to them and shit, and big valves, and they're milled. I think they probably come in 92cc or so. But those heads, compared to the 122s that come on this engine, bump the compression up. The 820s would get it up in the 9.5 to 1 range. And the other ones could get it up around 10 to 1. With a thin head gasket. Use a 20 thousandths thick shim head gasket. And I got a Dart single plane intake that's port matched to them 820 heads, which it would work with the 215s also. I think they're both port matched to the same gasket, so that Dart intake would line up with either one of them pretty good. And then an 850 Holley double pumper on top of that. And then a 2-inch primary pair of headers, 3.5-inch collectors. And then the fucking rest of the engine, just stock 454. Of course, I put some good roller rockers in it. I think pretty much the only parts I'll have to buy will be a gasket set, the hydraulic roller cam, roller lifters, push rods, springs, roller rockers, and push rods. I'll go with some stiff ass push rods. But I already have the heads, I already have the intake, I already have the carburetor, I already have the headers, and I've got enough shit laying around, valve covers and timing covers and shit to dress it up a little bit. But I think I could run 10s in the quarter with a stock bottom end 454 with just a roller cam and some heads. Been worked over oval ports. Fucking, they weigh a damn ton, but I got them. Might as well use them on something. This fucking engine, I believe it's a peanut port. Looking at the intake and shit, it looks like it's probably a peanut port unit. So I ain't even gonna fuck with them. Sell them to somebody or just put them on a shelf and let them collect dust. That old cast iron intake there ain't worth the shit either. Pretty dinky runners. That's an 800 CFM quadrajet on there. It's a pretty good unit. One of the better ones. Quadrajets that came on 454s are always pretty good units. But the intake I have the only intake I have that'll work with those oval port heads is a dark single plane. So that's probably what's gonna go on it. And like I said, either the 820s or the 215s will be the heads for it. I think the 820s have a fresh set of valve springs in them. Comp valve springs that are low mile. So I could probably use some fucking springs with that cam I'm looking at. So I could probably get away without buying springs since those heads are already well equipped. But run 10s with a 1,500 to $2,000 cash outlay. That'll be doing something. NA. They got the big ass transmission too. Got the big turbo 475 here. That's the strongest fucking automatic transmission made. Tell us the 475. It's got the funny ass tail shaft housing. It's held on by studs instead of bolts. It's a rollerized. It's got 2 roller bearings in it. And it's got a big fucking brake drum that bolts on the back of it there. Bolt on yoke and shit. And I'm gonna put a short tail shaft car housing on it. Regular car shit. That's a burly fucking transmission. Straight cut gears. Come with better shit in them. More clutches and shit. Got a 6-bolt torque converter. It's a heavy duty son of a bitch. But the old 454, time for phase 2. There it is.